Hey, this is Ryan Phillips here, and this is Game 4 of the match between Chris Reynolds and John Trivett. It's been a very exciting match to follow so far as an outside observer, and looking forward to the stretch run of the match. Kind of getting to the I think we're halfway through. I can't remember if it was a 6 or an 8 game match. I have to ask Chris about that again. I know he told me, but I forgot. Anyway, the match has been really interesting to me. All the openings have been, all the games have been exciting and critical lines, I believe. So anyway, we have another Grunfeld in this game, and again, I'll be analyzing from the black side. Maybe one of these times I'll analyze it from the white side, but I don't know. I have a lot of affection for the Grunfeld, so it's fun for me to look at from the black side. So the game went d4, knight f6, c4, g6, knight c3, d5. So I'm in a typical Grunfeld position again. And this time, well, John opted for the same continuation as in game. Or I'm sorry, Chris has the white piece in this game, so Chris opted for the same variation as in game two. So I believe we've had the same position in games one, two, and four. Seville variation is definitely getting a workout in this match. I believe games one, two, and four were all Seville, if I remember correctly. I'm trying to remember if John played the Seville variation in game two. I believe he did. C takes d5, knight takes d5, e4, knight takes c3, b takes c3, bishop g7, bishop e3, c5. And then here I believe that Chris made a small inaccuracy with bishop c4. So I actually think this is somewhat significant already. Computer's not showing too much of a change in the evaluation. But I don't really like this move order for white too much. I think the knight, if you're going to play bishop c4, I think you have to play bishop c4 and knight e2 prior to playing bishop e3. I really don't like this setup with bishop e3 and bishop c4 too much. I think for one, computer's not showing this, but I just like c takes d4. I think is simple and pretty good. And then the main point being here that after queen a5 check, it just this check is pretty good. I think after queen d2, queen takes d2, king takes d2. I don't think this position is anything for white to kind of brag about. I think this is all. I think this is pretty much dead equality already out of the opening. If bishop d2, now the bishop's kind of misplaced on d2, and I actually kind of like queen a3, which the computer's not really showing. But maybe this is playable for white. But looks like computer's saying queen d8's fine. So I don't know. Maybe I don't know why the queen can't just go to c7 immediately, but and then yeah, I think this position is a little bit annoying for white. I think black's already okay. So basically, the main point being is that if you play bishop e3 prior to knight e2, you're gonna have to either move the bishop again, which wastes a tempo, or you're gonna have to allow a queen trade, which I think is also quite fine for black. With the knight on e2. After this queen a5 check, now the bishop moves to d2 without a loss of tempo, so it's not retreating from e3 back to d2, and you don't have to worry about the d pawn hanging the very next move. If black does play queen d8, the pawn's still not really hanging. And I guess what has more than adequate compensation for the pawn in this variation. Although I'm curious if a move like I'm curious if there's something better though for white in this variation. Bishop h6 looks playable to me. Yeah, I don't know. I guess that's not too good. Maybe bishop c3 also looks interesting. I guess this doesn't leave too much for white either. I guess just taking is okay then. And then playing with the more active pieces, bishop pair, even though you're down a pawn, and this dark square bishop probably has like monster potential with no counterpart anymore on the board. So anyway, I think John didn't really take advantage of this possibility. So we basically just transposed back into mainline Grunfeld stuff. So we got castle, bishop g4. So this light square bishop in this particular variation of the Grunfeld can be tough to develop. So it's always interesting, this variation to me, that basically black is willing to sacrifice a pawn just to get rid of this light square bishop because it is pretty weak. I don't know, maybe we could try like ideas with b6 and bishop b7, which is not too uncommon, but I'm not sure. And actually, I am remembering game 2 of the match now, so I apologize for kind of assuming that they were all Seville games. I actually think John played queen c7 here, if I remember correctly, in game 2. So that's kind of coming back to me. So John does opt for the Seville variation, so I'm not sure how big of a surprise this was to Chris, but maybe a little bit of a surprise. And then I'm f3. And then, yeah, here you can retreat to bishop d7, which is actually a line that I'm thinking of adopting. Why not just give away what I plan on playing in the future? But anyway, after f3, I think bishop d7 seems... I bet you it would be very unexpected to the white side if you play bishop d7 here. So it looks like a good move, and then, I don't know, maybe just bishop d7 immediately is okay. But maybe inducing this f3 weakness might be worth wasting it. Maybe this is a better position. Maybe this is better for black than this. I really don't know. So I don't know if f3 could prove to be a weakness at some point, or if it's a move that white wants to play anyway. So I'm not sure which, if it's better to play bishop g4 and retreat, or just play bishop d7 immediately. So anyway, John went with knight a5, so he's really willing to gambit the pawn. So now we're right in the heart of the Seville theory. So bishop takes f7. Rook takes f7. F takes g4. Rook takes f1. And then, yeah, looks like, I think I looked over queen takes f1 in the first game of the match, and I can't remember why this is not. Oh no, I remember now. So queen takes f1. Yeah, knight c4 was very strong. And then if I think there was something after bishop f2 that was okay again. Knight d2, and it looks like the e pawn is going to hang because the queen came and go to b1. Okay, so yeah, so king takes f1 is much better. And then there's a few choices here. Queen d6 is the main line, or most common move, I should say. That's what John opted for. So the idea is to hit this pawn on h2 and bring the queen to an active square, and also get a piece out of the way on the 8th rank, so the rook could swing over f8 potentially, or even d8, or even c8. So this rook actually has quite a few options. And yeah, now all the games are coming back to me pretty clearly. I know game 1, I think Chris made, I thought he made kind of a slow plan with rook d8 and then rook f8 check after. So now the games are starting to come back to me. So king g1, and then I think this is all, or is yeah, king g1 looks like second most commonly move played. Looks like e5 is a little bit more common. And he was actually showing this nice move, knight c4. Basically trying to exploit the pin, or not the pin, forking the king on f1 and queen on d1. So that's an interesting plan, of course. But Chris opted for king g1 here. And then I think Chris in game 1 played queen e6 here, if I recall. So John deviated with knight c4. And then, yeah, when I saw this game the first time, I thought Chris played too cautiously with this next move, bishop f2. I think bishop f4 looks just much better. I think bishop f4 is a far superior move. Um, Bishop f2 just looks too careful to me. Also, another move that jumped out to me was queen b3 when I looked at this game a couple days ago. Just exploring the pin. And then the main idea is if b5, this a4 move is strong because a6 isn't really playable because of the pin along the a file. And of course the rook on a8 would drop, and that would be decisive. So I thought queen b3 was definitely an interesting move here. So bishop f2. Bishop f2 is kind of one of those moves like, well, my opponent's attacking me, let me just protect my piece. But it's not, yeah, I don't know, it's not the way to get better. It's not the way to improve your chess to think in these terms. Like, to me, the a2 g8 diagonal like really stands out. And of course, it's easier for me to comment to say this, like, you know, when I'm analyzing the game at home versus, you know, if I was actually in the heat of the moment. But still, I think when the queen b3 just kind of jumped out to me when I first looked at this. So bishop f2, computer's actually showing that they like this move now. I still think it's too passive in my opinion. And then John played rook d8. So the computer's not like a huge fan of this move, but I think this is a solid move. Basically, just putting another attacker on the d4 square looks okay to me. And then here Chris played queen d3. And again, I think this is inferior to queen b3. I think queen b3 is just a better move to take advantage of the pin. b5, a4, a6, a takes b5, a takes b5. But Chris has a nice position here, so hopefully I haven't been too critical of his play. I think his position is pretty close to winning right here. So I have to, you know, I have to congratulate his play up to this point because it seems like he's in firm control of the position right now. But I think he starts to go astray a little bit. Rook a7, maybe maybe it's one of those moves that looks better than it actually is. You know, getting a rook to the 7th rank. But I have the feeling when Chris played this move, he didn't really see what to do next. It was just kind of like, well, my rook looks good on a7, so I'll play it there. I'd be curious to get his thoughts on this position if he actually, if he had any intention of what he was going to do with the rook after it went to a7. So yeah, maybe it's just one of those moves that looks better than it actually is. So c takes d4, which I don't really understand. I don't know. I don't understand the importance of clarifying the situation in the center just yet, especially with the pin along the d file. I think he could leave. He doesn't have to do that yet. Maybe he was worried about d5, but after d5, I don't know. I don't think anything too bad is gonna happen. After d5, maybe just bishop e5 looks okay. I'm not sure. Maybe something like that's a plan though. So c takes d4, c takes d4, rook f8. So again, we see this plan of rook d8 to rook f8, as in game one when Chris had the black pieces. So knight c3, which this looks like it was a crucial blunder. I guess Chris is trying to jump the knight to d5, which looks like a reasonable idea. But I guess it's just too slow. And I think we're also starting to see some of the drawbacks of having the bishop on f2. It's kind of an hindrance to White's back rank. Even so, the computer's showing, for example, queen f4. They're suggesting it as a pretty strong move. So with the idea of queen c1 check or queen takes g4, it looks like, and of course queen takes f2 check also. So yeah, knight c3 just looks like a slow move. John played in his style though of the mad sacker with rook takes f2. I think this move looks good, but unfortunately it doesn't look like it's winning. Trying to figure out what's exactly okay. Sorry, I was hallucinating. I was wondering what's wrong with rook a8, and I forgot that the rook just comes back to f8. Okay, so Chris actually played the best continuation here to exploit that move with knight takes b5. So this knight takes b5 move's excellent. One, of course, is hitting the queen, protecting the rook, and now the protection of the knight on c4. And the rook on f2 is obviously still attacked as well. So knight takes b5 is an excellent move. So Chris played, sorry, I don't know, I keep getting the players mixed. I apologize for that. So John played queen b4 here, and then Chris took the rook on f2, which is quite natural, and then John took on b5. So it's an interesting position. It looks like black has two pieces for the rook, which is generally good, but white has two pawns for compensation, and it looks like the black king is in a precarious position. It's actually a little exposed here at the moment. So I guess this would be one of those positions like pretty much every other chess position where you can't just count the material. You have to look at the quality of the pieces, and the quality of the white pieces is better than the quality of the black pieces at the moment. And it looks like, especially with white to move here and with an initiative, that that should be too much for black to contend with. So rook a8 check, and then it shows bishop f8 just runs into queen f3. And it looks like after queen b2 check, king g3, it looks like black quickly runs out of checks, and there's nothing they can do to save the rook on f8. So I guess it's queen a3. Not that this is it's of course terrible, but just interesting, the computer defense to exploit the pin. But it looks like you could take the queen, of course, but I think also rook takes f8 looks pretty good. So either way, maybe just taking the queen, maybe just rook takes a3 is simpler. But this looks quite good too, with the two passed pawns and the up the exchange, and you have three pawns and up the exchange, and two of the pawns are connected passed pawns. So this is obviously a pretty trivial win for white. So anyway, John did not play bishop f8 though. He played king f7, which basically looks forced. And then Chris played a move that I could definitely relate to. I guess the computer's showing that queen f3 isn't that precise. But if I'm in Chris's shoes and I have an opportunity to play a check like this, I know I would also be very tempted to play queen f3. Computer's showing a more... I don't know, this is interesting because e5 is such a patient move. You have the initiative as white here. Looks like e5 maybe just gives the initiative back to black because they can play like queen b2, for example, check. But I guess you have to realize that this initiative is not very long-lasting for black. After queen b2 check, king g3, the white king is perfectly safe, it looks like. But it's hard to calculate all that because you think the queen has so many options and so many squares it can move to that maybe you can't be 100% sure in your analysis that your position's safe. But also maybe Chris just saw queen f3 check and it looks like a good move, keeping the pressure on, which that's what it looks like to me. It seems like queen f3 is a good move, but I guess it's not that precise. So basically the point is the king could run away to e6 actually, and this is another, these are not really human moves in my opinion. These are all just computer moves. I mean, you have to be, if the king's on e6 in this position, it seems to me that white should win a lot more than the evaluation showing. That you have to be a pretty precise calculator in a position like this to survive this. So anyway, so I can't really fault John's decision to play bishop f6 because this seems like a more natural move just to block the file to the black king. So block the f file with bishop f6. And then I think here, I'm not sure, I guess my previous comment about keeping the initiative would apply here. In this position, I don't see why Chris rejected e5. So I think this is a good lesson. If the bishop on f6 is pinned, the first thing you should be looking for is attacking the pinned piece. And if you can't think of a good reason why not to attack the pinned piece, this is generally going to be very accurate, a very accurate rule. So I don't know why Chris didn't play e5 here, but e5 is just totally winning. So he played king g3, I guess preparing e5, so he didn't want to allow the queen b2 check, which which was just way too cautious, unnecessary to have that mindset, and just basically just swung the game into black's favor. So King G3 was a pretty severe blunder. So Jon was alert and he took advantage with Knight D2, which looks to be the best move in the position. So obviously you're hitting the queen and threatening the E4 pawn potentially, and this is not an easy threat for white to deal with. It looks to me like the natural move might be like Queen E3, but unfortunately this would run into Knight F1 check, forking the king and the queen. So it's pretty hard to come up with a good defense actually of the E4 pawn. Queen E3 is not possible. So I guess, yeah, it's amazing. This knight move is very strong. So this might have been a little bit of bad luck for Chris, I believe. So Queen F4. So I guess this is the only way to move the queen and protect the E4 pawn. But Chris finds out he's going to be in trouble real soon. Jon plays Queen D3 check. And then King D2. And then Queen F1 check actually looks really good here. But it's probably not so easy to see why. This is like kind of a beautiful pattern of pieces right here. So I can't really fault Jon for missing this. I guess the idea is after Queen H3, this runs into Queen H4 mate. And then, of course, if Queen to F2, Knight takes E4 check, forking the king and the queen. So this is just a kind of just a pretty interesting position. You don't see this too often. But anyway, Jon to 4 Knight takes E4 check, which is also a perfectly fine move, but not as precise as Queen E1 check would have been. So King E1, Queen takes D4, G5. So now Chris is attacking the pin piece, but it's just too slow at this point. So we have Queen G1 check, and then I was expecting King E2. But I guess just Queen takes G2. I mean, Knight C3 check is playable, is their move, but I think Queen takes G2 is what I would have expected to see in the game. And then this is just simple and good. So Queen G1 check, Queen F1, Queen E3 check, Queen E2. And then this is basically white is in this black's main net here. Bishop C3 check, King F1. Yeah, looks like either move's pretty bad. King D1 check runs into Knight F2 check, which will force white to give up the queen. So King F1, Queen C1 check, and then this runs into this also will run to mate after Queen E1 or Queen D1. The queen takes the other queen, and that will lead to mate 2. So in this position, white ended up resigning. So this was a good game. I think Chris probably regrets not playing E5. Queen G3 is a pretty swung the pendulum back into Jon's favor. But Chris has really had the upper hand. If he would have played E5, I think the position is just winning for him. So you know, he would have had a good chance to take the lead in the match. But I guess that's part of the match psychology. He's got to kind of move on to the next game, and nothing you can do about this now. So I think Chris has a lot to be proud of in his play, actually. I think games 1 and 2, Jon looked like a machine. His games were fantastic, and I still think Jon's playing well. But games 3 and 4, Chris has been able to make some dents in Jon's armor. And yeah, I think I think Chris should be optimistic that he's playing much better, and hopefully he could use that confidence for the rest of the match. And I think Jon has lots of reasons to be confident as well. Jon is playing really well, of course, and I think maybe he was a little lucky to survive this game. But you know, that's chess. You know, you have to keep fighting and making precise moves until the game's over. And sometimes when it seems like the position is clearly in your favor, if you make one inaccuracy like we saw with King G3, the whole game could turn in your opponent's favor. Anyway, though, hope you enjoyed the video, and I'm looking forward to Game 5. So anyway, this is Ryan Phillips signing off, and yeah, hopefully the next video is good as well. Thank you very much.